Hi, I'm Sheilaa Hite, world-class astrologer, tarot master, spellcaster, medium, and all-around magical being. And I am here today to talk to you about this week's astrology. And this month of September, which is a harvest month, a very important month in the year because it's where we get to see the crop we've grown all year and determine its value and how we're going to use it. Well, this month is not only that, it is a month where we get to see really what is going to be going on for not only this month, but for the rest of the year in one way or another. The influences will be felt. So we start off with the fact that right now is the beginning of eclipse season. And an eclipse, whether it's a solar eclipse or a lunar eclipse, whether it's a new moon eclipse or a full moon eclipse, is very, very instrumental. Things happen outside of our control. It's almost as if fate steps in and takes a hand, and we have to give it our little hand. We're like little kids, and fate is the adult, and we have to go hand in hand with fate and go where it leads us. So we're in eclipse season. I've got notes, so I'm going to read from them because it's very important. When fate steps in, that's what happens during eclipse seasons. Life-changing events often occur. Solar eclipse brings something, awareness, people, situations, circumstances, things. Lunar eclipses, the full moon eclipses, take something. They remove something. So we're having a lunar eclipse next week, and I'll talk more about that next week. However, do what you can do this week to take a look at and be honest with yourself what no longer can stay in your life, what you can no longer tolerate, what your soul can no longer tolerate, what no longer is welcome or contributing in your life. It's very important. And another thing that's happening is the planet Mars, which is the planet of how we do things, how we get things done. The planet Mars is making a square aspect. That's an abrasive, head-butting aspect to the nodes, the North Node and the South Node. The nodes are not planets, but the nodes are very, very, very important points in our transformation from a basic soul to a soul of light and contribution and meaning. The nodes are important to telling us where we've come from and what our gifts and talents are and where and how to use them, i.e. where we're going. The North Node, so the South Node of what we came in with, what we've got, and what we need to use to get to the North Node where we're going. So I will read this, very important. This week, the planet Mars, how we get things done, is making a square, an abrasive aspect to the North Node and the South Node, sometimes referred to as the Moon's nodes. The South Node represents everything we were or did, and is often linked to karma and old unconscious habits. There are some really good things about that and some really not so good things about that. The North Node, which is always exactly opposite the South Node, shows us how and where we can grow and how we can contribute to the betterment of life. In your own chart, the sign and house the nodes are in will tell you about your soul's intention and growth for this lifetime. In general, when a planet is square, both the nodes, both the North and South nodes, this is a challenging aspect that can really help to revert old patterns that don't serve you or your soul's destiny any longer. If they ever did, they might have earlier in this life, or they might have in another lifetime, but they no longer work. And so the South Node brings them up, brings them out. The North Node says, I can keep this and use this. I don't need this any longer, so I'm discarding this. When Mars in Cancer, and that's where we are now, we have the planet Mars, how we get things done, in the sign Cancer. When Mars in Cancer makes a square to the nodes, the remaining objective when dealing with emotional issues is the point of the exercise. That is to say, Cancer being very emotional, that the objective is how you deal with these emotional issues, not how they deal with you, how you deal with them. Please do not default to people-pleasing or manipulation to keep the peace. Remember, this is super important. Mars square the nodes. How will you do things that affect you emotionally? Mars, how will you do things that affect you emotionally? Cancer. Squaring the nodes. So the nodes are going to bring up, in a sense, they're going to bring up a platform. And on this platform, there you are doing, that's Mars, what you do with the emotions, Cancer, dictating the kind of energy and how it's likely to be run. You are in charge, though, of how it really is run. Pay attention and remember, please do not default to people-pleasing and manipulation to keep the peace. There will be no peace if you revert to, oh, I'll just give in and keep the peace. They'll say it's okay. No, they won't. Please avoid becoming passive-aggressive. Please avoid becoming defensive. Please avoid becoming divisive. Mars and Cancer, if you're not careful, Mars and Cancer square anything, especially the nodes, that will come up. You really don't want that to be an issue. Stay conscious and acknowledge your feelings. Acknowledge what you're feeling. Don't lie to yourself. If you don't feel good, if you don't feel well, if you're not comfortable, if you're angry, if you're happy, if you're upset, acknowledge that feeling honestly. However, don't let that feeling vote. Do not let your feelings dictate your actions. This is super, super, super important too. Don't give them a vote. In order to do what you need to do to remain yourself centered and grounded, please be clear, think clearly, take deep breaths. That clears 3 deep breaths will clear emotion and clear your mind. Please remember to be clear and conscious of your intentions. What do you intend for this moment to be? What do you intend to do here? What would you like the result be? So now on to the daily aspects and what we need to be aware of. There actually are not that many, but everything is really impactful this week because we have, as I said before, entered an intense time, eclipse season. And we've got Mars, how we get things done, square, abrasive action to the nodes, which is the nodes tell us what we're here to do. So on Wednesday, we've got Mercury, the planet of the intellect and communication. We have Mercury square. We have Mercury sextile Mars. Now, what's a sextile? It's an aspect. It tells us what the relationship between Mercury and Mars is like at this point. Mars, as you know, how we get things done. Mercury, how we think. A sextile is an opportunity aspect. When you have 2 planets sextile each other, you have 2 planets that say, you know, if you want, I can help you with that. You have to actually initiate that action. You have to determine, I would like to, before I make a move, I'd like to think about it and see whether or not that move is the best move for me to make at this time. Otherwise, you're just sort of flying blind and flying into walls, doorways, and buildings. So when Mercury sextiles Mars, this is an excellent time to think about your ideas and to plan yourself and to plan your ideas thoroughly and think through something. You know, when somebody says, ooh, you didn't think that through, they're saying you didn't take advantage of the fact that Mercury was sextile Mars and you could have thought that through. And we all know what that's like. That usually turns out to be some sort of train wreck. So avoid the train wreck, think things through. Then on Thursday, we have the sun square Jupiter. The sun is the life force. It's the ego. It's the heart. The sun is the big light in the sky. And we know that a square is an abrasive aspect. And Jupiter is expansion. Jupiter is also luck. Jupiter is blessings. Jupiter is the philosopher of the zodiac. So, Sun square Jupiter. This is a good day to remember that you do not have a better plan than God. This is a great day to remember that. Even though you have great plans and great ideas, maybe you need to tune in to your intuition and listen. When you've got Jupiter involved anywhere, that's what they're telling you. Listen, what's really going on, what's really being said. Sun square Jupiter, it can either be a day of huge gratitude or huge disappointment. It's up to you. You must be willing to set your goals aside and to take a look at your ego and see if your ego is really fueling the goals. What I mean by that is what might appear to be, oh my God, this is a great thing for me to do, might just be a little ego play. Is it a great thing for you to do? Is it a great thing to do and to have done? Is it great for where you are and for what you want? It's really important. The sun is involved. Your ego is also involved. This is not a good idea to let your ego have a vote either. It is rarely, if ever, a good idea to let your ego have a vote. This is one of those times, no, on letting your ego have a vote. Listen to your intuition. Follow your intuition. Saturday, we have another Jupiter aspect. Venus, the planet of relationships, of balance, of the gift, the planet of harmony, the planet of value, especially self-value, is trine. It's making a trine, a harmonious, beneficial aspect to the planet Jupiter. Again, expansion, blessings, luck, philosophy, the philosophy of life. And Jupiter also is in direct alignment with the divine. So when you are following Jupiter's path in a positive way, you're always walking on lucky ground. So Saturday is a great day for a party. Jupiter and Venus, whenever you're going to have some sort of celebration, always check to see where the moon, Venus, and Jupiter are and how they're relating to each other. You have a great opportunity for a fabulous party if they're all relating well. So, Venus trine Jupiter. It's a great day for a party, and it's a great day to be social, great day to meet people, a great day to go a little outside your comfort zone and reach out to people. Allow people to speak to you. Sometimes we avert our eyes. We just move away from, oh my God, I could say something to that person, or I could be a part of this conversation. No, it's a good idea to sit and determine whether or not, or to stand and determine whether or not that association is harmonious and beneficial to you. So this is a very lucky day. So let the little kid in you make a wish. That's right, the little kid in you, make a wish. And remember that you have a theme song for this day, and it's Young at Heart. So go to YouTube and find Young at Heart. And there's some great renditions. I prefer the Frank Sinatra version, but the Frank Sinatra version isn't the only one. And it's really about being young at heart, especially on Saturday. Then Sunday, we have the last two, or rather, we have the last aspect, and that is Mars square the nodes. Now, I spoke about that. I began today's talk with Mars square the nodes. Same thing. What I'm going to do is repeat the salient points. With Mars and Cancer square the nodes, please remember the remaining objective when dealing with emotional issues is the point of the exercise. The remaining objective, don't take it personally. Don't let your emotions vote. And for God's sake, be kind to yourself and be kind to others. Your emotions are there. Your intuition is sharp. Let your intuition guide you, not your emotions. Please avoid becoming aggressive, passive-aggressive, defensive, or divisive. And stay conscious. Above all, remain centered, grounded, and conscious. Stay conscious and acknowledge your feelings. Don't deny them, acknowledge them. but also don't let them dictate your actions. And that's it for today. Treat everybody well and treat everybody wonderfully. Treat yourself wonderfully. You're part of everybody. Don't take anything personally. And in a world where you can be anything, please be kind.